Brightest blessings, this is Raven and today we're going to do a craft with me. But first I wanted to show you some photos that my dad took of Douglas last weekend for his birthday. It was his first birthday, so a lot of you haven't seen Douglas up close and personal properly or very clearly, so I'll just hold them up a little bit so you can see. His little ears are hilarious when he's running, and he's obsessed with his little ball. Sorry about the traffic going past. We're having a bit of a heat wave this weekend in the UK and I am baking. So I am going to be working on this. Now, the amount of stuff I've got for this journal, I've probably got enough to do about 3, so I may well make more, but I like to be prepared. So I've half done the cover. I've got to put some trims and things on the outside and ink them, and then the inside is plain. So this was an Edith Holden book cover and I've gutted it and been left with the boards and the spine. I haven't decided if I'm going to sew the signatures in or if I'm going to use elastic. I may just use elastic because of the things that I've already made to go inside this journal. So let's show you the things that I've made already. So we're going to do some stamping for our craft with me, that's why I've got the paper. So I've made some tags with bits of papers that were scraps basically, so bits of my scrap papers that were sort of mushroomy-esque colours, and then I've got stickers and various bits of ephemera that I can cut out and stick onto these, and I've just used some craft card for those. So this is a good way of using up your scraps, and I'll keep all of them, even the tiny little pieces, and then I can make collage tags like these really easily. Doesn't cost me anything because it's all scraps that would have been in the bin anyway. So yeah, I've made some of those. Put those to one side. This paper is from Stamperia, I believe, and then inside again I've just used collagey bits and scraps and things. So it's ended up being quite a thick page. This on the inside already has a mushroom on the paper, so I probably won't add anything on the inside, but the outside here I may do, but it's similar colours. Then using some envelopes, I've done the same technique again. Collagey with bits and bobs and a mushroom sticker there. And on the inside I've turned it into a pocket. So we've got a pocket there and a pocket there that are empty currently. So I'm thinking that this might be sort of the cover page for one signature, and then I've got this one as a cover page for the second signature. I'm going to do 2 chunky signatures, and I'm thinking elastic might be the easiest way so that you can take them in and out to work in them. So this is 2 envelopes again with digital. But instead of cutting them this way, all I've done is kept the pocket there. So there's a pocket with a piece of ephemera in there. And then I've got a little tuck spot there with a piece of paper that came from Temu, I believe. And then this side, I've kept this plain so that you've got somewhere to journal. Open this side, another piece of ephemera in there. And I've just embellished that with some washi and a mushroom sticker, and then the back there is the same sorts of colours with another mushroom sticker there. So yeah, I think that will look quite nice as sort of the cover for the rest of the signature, and the same with the other one. I then prepared a couple of coffee splattered stained paper doilies, so I've got 3 there to put between the 2 signatures, and then I've got some coffee dyed papers. Some are lighter than others. A lot of them have got printing on from where I've dried them on. It's like a plastic lace tablecloth. Unfortunately, in the UK, I can't seem to find the ones that are actually like lace with the holes in, that I see a lot of people use in America. For whatever reason, I cannot get them over here. If you're in the UK and you have one or know of where I can get one, please do let me know. But it needs to be plastic or vinyl sort of thing. I'll grab a piece to show you. Hold on. This came as a really big tablecloth and I've just cut it up into smaller pieces so that I can use it. So essentially I want something like this, but I want the lacy holes so that then while I'm doing coffee dyeing, I can add more coffee on the top and it will stain like lace. Well, I use these and it has left, I don't know if you can see, it has left some marks on them, which makes them, you know, a little bit more interesting, but not as nice as I wanted. And this was just rubbing some Distress Oxide, rubbing the pad on the lacy part gently, and then just pressing the paper on top so you've got a light lacy like effect, which again is very nice, but I would really like to do the other version. So yeah, I'll put that away now. So yeah, I've got some papers there ready, and then we're gonna stamp on these 4. I think I've picked 4 pages to add more interest to the coffee dyed. And then I've made some digitals to go in. Now, some of you may be aware that I've just started on Patreon. These aren't on Patreon at the moment. However, if it's something you are interested in, do let me know and I will upload them to Patreon. The 3 tiers on there, the smallest or lowest amount that you pay is $2, and you get a minimum of 5 digital images or packs, whatever it is that I decide to upload, plus other coven things that I've added. There's then a £5.50 tier, and that's a minimum of 10. And then there's an £11.50, I believe it is, set in which you get everything, and that's a minimum of 20. Now I've already gone way over the 20 already, because I just love uploading the images on there. So far there's I'll go through them later, but these are on there, these digitals that I've made, so you can just print them out for yourself. I'll go through some of the ones that I've added later. But yeah, if you see anything on the channel and you're already on my Patreon, or you're thinking of joining the Patreon and would like to see these on there, let me know and I will add them for you. These aren't on Etsy either. I haven't uploaded them onto there as yet, but I may well do if there's interest. So this we've got here is one of my digitals, as is this nice plain backing. This was a digital image that I found. I'm gonna do around the edges and dirty it up a little bit. This is one of my digitals using various images. So the idea is that this is a vintagey style mushroom journal. This one with the text in the back. I really like these simpler ones because it allows you to leave them as they are because they're pretty, but you could also easily write on these. And then this one has another large image on the back, as does this one. And this is one of my digitals again. I've incorporated quite a bit of lace into this to sort of lighten it up a little bit. One of my digitals again. This one's lined, obviously, with something plain on the back. I've got this one that's my digital with the lace in the middle. And this is my digital as well with just the plain text. got this one that's mine, and a plain one that's mine. This one, this is mine as well, as is this one. And the last one is this one, which has a sort of greenish hue. How to tell, Doug has been on my desk. Has a sort of greenish hue with like ribbon at the bottom, and then at the back is a nice plain one. So the idea is that all of these plus the coffee dye will go into those little folios. I haven't decided what order they're going to go in yet. We can do that another time. And then the last thing is digital ephemera that I've made. So this is from another set. It's not part of the vintage mushroom kit. This is one from the Patreon gifts, but I wanted to include it in here. So a lot of the images that are in the journal pages are also on the ephemera, so it correlates quite nicely. So we've got this one. Hopefully I'm in shot, because this is a new setup. I've left them quite plain so that then you can add to them if you want to add to them, but they're just as good as they are on their own. All different shapes and sizes. We've got some fussy cuts here. Right, this is my printer that's cut these off, because my printer refuses to do borderless printing. But if you have it set properly, these will be whole, the same as those. So there's some fussy cutting and some smaller pieces of ephemera there. Some nice journal cards. And then this one, which is just little small, sort of, well, they're smaller than matchboxes really, they're quite small, just to embellish pages or use in little tuck spots. So that's all those. Right, let's get myself organised. So we've got our paper here. I'll just use one at a time. And the idea is that what I want to do is, I've got various inks here, and I've also got this to splatter if I want to splatter. And I've got these mushrooms. I can't remember where I got these from because I've had them for so long. Little mushroom stamps. If I hold them up, you might be able to see them a little bit better. So the idea is I want to do a collage of stamps, basically, using different stamps and put them on the page, go in different directions, just on the one side, so it gives a little bit more interest to the journal. You can see I've used a lot of these already, but not all. So I think what we'll do is start with the darkest colour, which is the VersaFine colour that I like to use for really dark images. And we'll just pick a, let's have a look. Let's go for that one. So then the idea is we're just going to tap. Well, the only thing I don't want is for them to go upside down. I don't mind if they go off the page a little. I don't mind if the stamps are only partially on or not. So that's that page. I'll do the same on the other. And the idea is that you want them to look a bit different. Now, obviously, this craft mat is my dirty mat, so don't worry. But if you're using a brand new mat, do be careful, because this doesn't come off once it's stamped. Or not very easily anyway. I use a special ink cleaner to get mine off, and it still doesn't get everything off. So the idea is we're going to make every page a little bit different. Maybe some pages we don't want to use certain stamps. I may want to add splatters to some and not to others. Right. put it back on. So we're done with the darker one for now. We may go back to the darker one, we'll see. We've got that one. Let's go for a slightly different one this time, and we'll go with Ranger Archival ink, and this is the sepia colour. I've had this for years, this ink pad, and it's still going strong, so that goes to show how good it is. And as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect stamping. I'm not a big lover of stamping personally, just because I like to have the perfect image, and a lot of the time I can't get it. So this is the one that we didn't use the other stamp on. Change again. And this is something nice and easy to do, and you can do these with any stamps really, just to add a bit of interest. They don't have to be mushrooms, they can be any stamps you want really. So I'm going to change colour, and this time I'm going to use the Distress Vintage Photo Oxide ink. I'm going to do this nice. Let's do one that I've not used before. This one. Now obviously I have got to be wary using this oxide ink when I start spraying, and this is a mix of Vintage Photo ink and some water, that it will react with the oxide, okay? So we do need to be wary of that. I also like to do this with leaves. If I do leaves in sort of like a forest journal or something like that, if you've got some leaf stamps, just do that on a page. You don't have to have the most expensive scrapbook paper going to do a journal. You can do pretty plain journals with just coffee paper and some stamps and whatever bits of ephemera you've made. Just want the toadstool there. And I think when I finish doing this page, I'm going to stick with this oxide and pick a different stamp. Let's pick a small one now. A nice little diddy one. Now obviously these pages are going to be folded, so some mushrooms may be going over both. So how have you all been? My chest is finally getting a little bit better, thankfully, although this hot weather is likely to set my chest off again. And if not my chest, the fibro will play up, so I'm trying to keep inside as much as possible, because the sun really does affect anything when it comes to the fibro. So let's go with this one. I'm going to change to the green now. This one's Peeled Paint Archival ink. just bringing a little bit of interest in. Obviously you could pick whatever colours you liked. I really wanted greens and browns. And you can go as crazy with these as you like as well. You could really sort of fill them up so that there's not much space in the background. But I quite like having gaps. Maybe just one there. I think I'm going to change this stamp now to one of the other ones. Grab this big one, but we're going to stick with the green. And we've got a little bit of interest because it's not all the same. He's stomping about. It's one of the kids, so, or the dog. So that's that one. And that's a fly buzzing around. Over there. I think I'm going to change again to another one of these smaller ones. Now obviously you can use the same, if you've only got say 3 stamps, you can use the same stamps but with different colours and it will give you the same effect. There. Do for that one. That one I'm liking as it is. I might just add maybe one here and one there. I think I'll put a little green one here, and then when we go back to one of the other colours I'll put that there. So you see, this is a nice simple activity that you could do sat watching the telly, which is what I do quite often. Sit and watch me Star Trek or what have you. So I'm going to keep that stamp, but I'm going to go back to the oxide, I think, and maybe mix it with a little bit of that one. So what I tend to do is stamp on one and then just lightly grab a bit from the other one, and then you get a little bit of a difference between the two. So like this one, you see, I do that a lot with the leaves because leaves aren't all one colour generally, are they? And as I said, go as much or as little as you want. Now with that one, I think that is done. So what I'm going to do, of course you could do both sides if you wanted to do both sides. I'm just going to fold that, and that is one done. Because then when it's folded over like that, see, now I feel like I need something there. So we'll come back to that patch in a second. I especially like to do darker at the bottom so it gives it a little bit of depth. out. Again, unfold it over and have a look. I think perhaps something here and something there. Perhaps a completely dark one. And the nice thing is you can keep going back to them. So if you look at it at the time and think it's done, that's fine. But then when you do come to make the journal, if it doesn't feel like it is, then you can always change that, add more to it. The only thing you can't do, obviously, is take them away. So keep that in mind. I like that. Yeah, happy with that one. What about this one? Let's change the stamp up because we've had that one for a while. Let's go to this one. We'll do a bit of the two like this. We haven't got any dark on this one, so I don't mind if some of the darker does come through more than anything else, like that one. I quite like them to be uneven anyway. As I said, it adds a bit of interest and depth. And I think that's it for that one. So once we've done this and I've tidied up a little, we'll crack on and get the signatures organised. Clean that one. And then let's go for this one because we haven't done this one and I wanted a bigger. And I think I'm going to go with the sepia because there isn't really, well, there isn't, is there? There's no sepia on this. Do that there. Because it's going off to the side slightly. That side's fine. I think one there. Just a little bit coming off the edge there. Perfect. So we've given them a wipe in the bin. Put the wipes away. Let's just move all the inks out of the way for now. Now obviously I haven't sprayed any. I will probably spray them later if I want to spray them. I haven't decided because I don't want to grunge it up too much. So we've got our 4 stamped pages. Now how quick was that? I don't know how quick the video's gone by, but you've made 4 lovely pages in 5 minutes. Can't go wrong. As I said, these look lovely with leaves on, but they'd look equally nice with butterflies. I've done butterfly ones as well, and dragonflies, starfish and ocean creatures too. Those would look lovely. So please don't think that if you're going to start journaling, or if you want to add interest to your books of shadows, if you're pagan, don't think you need to go out and buy all these expensive things. Those stamps were probably only a couple of pounds from somewhere like Shein or Temu or AliExpress, or, you know, somewhere like that. And I've been able to make some lovely pages with them. So we've got those. We've got the digitals. We've got the rest of the coffee dyed paper. Got the doilies. And then we've got these. Now I could have used this as a third signature, but it's not as big as these, and I wanted these to be the outsides. So I may just add this into the inside of one. So let's get these digitals folded and then we can go from there. So some of these I'm going to fold with the mushrooms on the outside, and others I'll fold with the mushrooms on the inside. So like this one, for example, I'm going to do that one that way. Now because of the way my printer works, obviously it has a border around and it has a habit of moving, so when I print on the back it's not always lined up, so some are bigger than others page wise, and that really doesn't bother me. I quite like that. It again adds a little bit of interest. Lovely. That on the inside. Now, as I said, I've got enough here to make a few journals, really. I don't need to put all of these into this one journal. I may not. I may decide I'm going to keep them for another journal. Righty-ho. Oh, that's a coffee dyed one. So how many have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8. So we've got 9. And the only reason we've got 9, it should have been 10, but the printer messed up on the 10th one, so I decided to turn that into a piece of ephemera. I will show you. Where is it? So yeah, this should have been the 10th, but it printed it upside down and messed about with this. So I'm just gonna cut around the outside and glue these together, and it's going to be a nice big journal card. So all is not lost if your printer messes up. I'm just going to have a quick sip of my drink, excuse me. There we go. So, right, we'll start with this big one first, I think. Now, because this is quite visually complex, I'm going to have coffee dyed first and then something else. So we've got that one. What mushrooms was it on there? That one, that's fine. That. Where was one of the ones that didn't have? Okay, with that one. So you'll see here, I don't do alternates. I just decide what I want to do and put them on. So I've got a lighter page, then a darker page, and I'm not overly picky about how many pages are in these either, because there's only going to be 2 signatures. Obviously I want to make sure that I've got roughly equal amounts in each. Go with that one, and then I think I'll put my nice mushroom one there, like that. Do a darker one. This one. How far are we getting? Not too bad. Put in the coffee dyed. that one, and then another mushroom, I think. And that there. Make sure they're all relatively synchronized, because none of them are small. It doesn't matter if the smaller ones are closer to, like this one, you see, because it's smaller than that. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle or not. I can make it more central if I want to, but for now I'm happy for them to be like that. So that is going to be sewn into there. So then this is like a little notebook, which is a really easy idea actually. I might do a video on that. This is obviously just using 2 envelopes that I've glued together and then collaged over the top, but that would make a really lovely little notebook. And because it's been collaged, it's a little bit thicker, so yes, I like that. It's giving me ideas. Right, so we've got that, and then we've got this one. Now obviously this is a lot smaller than these coffee dyed ones, so this is going to need to be central for it to work. So we've got that one and that one. I've got some light and some dark, so I don't like too many of the same depth of colour being together. Darker one. Oh, throwing them about. This one. I'll go with a mushroom one. And a dark one. Oh, you know what I haven't put in? I haven't put the doilies in. Go back to the other one and put a doily in. That one. That one. Dark one. And do this lighter one. The last digital, so that can go there. And we'll have the mushroom one, and then this dark one. We'll have that because that looks lovely, doesn't it? It sets that off. And then we're going to have this in the middle. That might end up being slightly too thick, in which case I might add pages to the other one. So the idea is it's going to be like that. Now obviously this wouldn't work as a notebook because the cover isn't that size, and this is because I decided I wanted to cut one down and make this sort of pocket. And it doesn't bother me that it's different. I like things to be different. So there's our 2 signatures. But this one definitely feels thicker, so I might have to add another couple. Let's have a look. Just going to grab a couple of, there we go, a couple more plain ones. Sorry, I'm going off camera. I'm just going to add a couple more plain ones to this, plus this doily. So I want this doily behind a dark one. Be dark enough. Didn't put many dark ones in this, did I? Dark one. That's the doily. There's that there. Now, even digital wise, as I said, there should have been 10 pages. You could have decided, I'm just going to put this one here in the middle. You could have decided that you didn't want to use all the digitals in one journal, and that's fine. I like to really stock mine up. So those are the 2 signatures. Let's bring back the cover and have a look. So yeah, that's already full. Now the way I tell that it's full is if you put your stuff in and when you've put a little bit of pressure on it, it's equal to the spine, then that's full. Okay, but by the time I put ephemera in it, it's going to do that. So this is why I like to just double check before I start sewing things, and that's fine. I'm happy with that, and deciding which one I want at the front and which one I want at the back I shall do later. The likelihood is I'm going to want this one at the back because I like this at the front, and I like to keep that one. I like to keep mine just slightly smaller than the spine in height, but width wise I don't mind if it was that thin, if the journal was only that thin, because by the time you've added ephemera and things that can stick out, it will fill it up anyway. Yes, I am happy with that. So that's all for today, folks. Just a little video. The next one is going to be a Kitchen Witch book 2 flip through, because I've had people asking, and that is all about how to can foods and store them and all that sort of thing as part of my kitchen witchery. So that's the next video. That's likely to come out Monday or Tuesday. Then we'll probably do another craft with me at some point in the week, but I've also stated to pretty much everybody that later in the week next week, probably Thursday or Friday, I'll upload a shadow work video, and I will also include all of the printable bits that I will show you on the day on the Patreon for free. So if you want to go over to the Patreon and get those, you can. While we're talking about Patreon again, I'll bring these in, and I will say that although there are the tiers, there is free information on there too, guys. It's not just, you don't have to pay for stuff if you can't afford to, but there is plenty of free on there as well, whether it be ephemera or whether it be witchy lessons, whether it be Book of Shadows pages. There is free stuff on there too, and obviously it's only been live for a couple of days, so although there's more than enough on there to cover your first month subscription, there's still more to come. Okay, so these are some examples of things that are on the Patreon currently, and I love these two because they're massive tags, but if you were to cut these out and back them so that they were nice and thick, like I did with the craft card and those other tags, you can quite easily slot these into your Books of Shadows and write spells on the back. So easy. I mean, even these ones for smaller spells would be nice, or maybe an incense blend, or you know, something like that. And this was the aim of making sort of witchy ephemera, is things that you can add into your Books of Shadows as well as bullet journals and whatever else you do, because not everybody can draw and paint and colour and everything else, but they still want really rich, colourful pieces in their books, and this was my way of being able to do that. So that's that one. We've got this little magic mushroom style one. Obviously this I'm going to be using in this journal. These ones aren't really the right colours. And some little labels. Some more potiony style bottles and things like that, and I've tried to make these the same sort of sizes so that you've got plenty of space to write a spell or an incense blend or what have you on the back of them. And what I quite like about these is that they're all very different. So perhaps you're doing a home blessing incense blend, you could pick a bottle with a home on, you can write it on the front there, and then once you back it, you write the incense blend on the back. You've got some bees, buzzy bees. Again, these would look nice in a book of shadows if you're talking about honey magic and bee magic. Crystal butterflies. Again, these are nice sizes that you can just write little snippets of information in and just slip them into a pocket or an envelope, or you could attach them in with a paper clip. And the last one to show, because I haven't printed them all out, I've only printed out the ones that I need for other journals at the moment, because everything I make I use. There isn't anything that I've made on Patreon, Etsy or any of the freebies. I've used every single one, or intend to use every single one. So I will never ever give you something that I wouldn't personally use. So this one's Green Witch themed, and some little leaves. And these are nice to just decorate pages, not necessarily to write anything on. It's a nice big one, so you could write a nice ritual or something on the back of that one. Depends on the size of your writing. But yes, as I said, these are all on Patreon. Some are free, some are not. They're on the tiered section. If my personal preference, and it's not because of the amount that I get, but the more expensive one, the £11.50, really does give you the best value for money, because you get a minimum of 20 of these. So a minimum of 20 A4 sheets like this, okay? Plus Books of Shadows pages, lessons from the coven that I run, and information from the coven that I run. When I do videos on there, it will be lessons to do with shadow work or kitchen witchery, or you know, what have you, that won't be on YouTube. And then, as I said, next week we're going to do an Embrace Your Darkness shadow work video, and any paperwork for that will be on the Patreon for free. So always keep an eye out, even if you can't afford to buy or pledge any. That's perfectly fine. I don't expect it. Every little helps, but I don't expect it. So I am trying to upload lots of free things as well. Pretty much everything that you've ever seen for free on my Facebook will be on the Patreon if it isn't already. I've just got to go back through and double check what it is that I've put up for free and what I haven't. So things like labels, witchy labels and things like that. So I've got some like these that I've printed out ready for this, that say fungi and mushroom and forest and kindness and collect. I've got all different ones that I've made. So it'll be things like this that are put up as well. So you might just be interested in getting different labels with different words, and those sorts of things will be on there too. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Etsy is really, really busy at the moment, and I really do appreciate everybody that's gone over to the Etsy shop and bought any of my products. A special big thank you to a lovely lady called Muriel, who has bought multiples of my journals. Bless you. It's very much appreciated. The digital kits are what are selling the most, obviously, because people want to be able to make things themselves. So the journal side of things, I will only ever have sort of 4 or 5 maximum on there, and sometimes none at all if I've run out, because they take a long time to make. And I'm also still trying to stock up ready for camp, and obviously I have my journals in a shop locally, 2 shops, one in Wales and one here. So I need to keep stock up for those as well. So don't be surprised if you go over to the Etsy expecting to purchase a journal and I haven't got any. I apologise. I'm trying to keep them on there, but they do take a long time to make. If you've got any suggestions for things that you'd like to see more of, whether that be digitally, whether that be journal making, whether that be witchcraft related, pagan related, please do comment below or send me a message on Facebook. I'll leave all of my details below. So I'll list my Etsy, my Facebook and my Patreon links below. I will also link my Amazon wishlist in the comments, along with my address, so that if you do decide you want to get me a little gift, which is lovely. I've already received 2, so that's positive. you can send them to me via that address. Okay, so love and light to all of you, my lovelies, and I will see you soon. Blessings.